We would like to call our June 12th, 2024 called meeting to order. It is for public comment on our fiscal year 25. And so with that, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out and being with us today, as well as those of you that are viewing online. So, Madam Superintendent, what do we have?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to invite Ms. Susan Wynn forward to walk us through the FY 2025 proposed budget. Ms. Wynn.
Good evening, Madam Superintendent, Board. It is nice to be here this evening, and this is our second required public budget meeting. So we're going to cover our proposed budgets for our general fund, our special revenues, and our SPLOST. And then we'll have any questions and comments. And really, before we get going, I really want to talk a little bit about the big picture. And I'm up here giving you the presentation for the whole time, but I want to thank all of our principals for all of their hard work with their scheduling, everyone in their buildings. And I can't name the number of people that are involved with getting those schedules and with the programs, and then making sure you've got the right teachers to teach those. So I just want to thank all of them for that and getting contracts done early. All of our directors, Dr. Hubb's got pre-K and special ed. Ms. Tipton has SPLOST and technology, federal grants. Mr. Mathis, technology and SPLOST. Ms. College, Title I, QBE, professional learning. Ms. Williams, our school nutrition budgets. Dr. Roof with CTAE and working with positions and Perkins, and Mr. Danner with all of our projects and maintenance, and Mr. Drury with transportation. And I apologize if hopefully I didn't leave anyone out, but I also want to thank Ms. Amy Buchanan for all of her work she's done on the salary schedules and comparing everyone. And Ms. Dillard, thank you so much for letting us streamline our process, and thank you, Board, for supporting all of our changes. It does take a village, and we are fanning. It takes us all working together to get this pulled together. So from that, we will get started. And some of this you heard at our first public budget meeting, and then some has some changes, but the 40-day session started January the 8th. It ended March the 28th. The FY 25 Appropriations Act provides $2,500 increase for certified personnel in the Georgia school districts. Even though we're a charter system, we choose to continue to use the state salary scale for determining the annual salaries for our certified employees. And we have a local supplement for all of our certified staff that was restored from 5% to 6% of state-based salary in FY 19. And we increased that from 6% to 8% in FY 22. And then we are building our FY 25 budget, giving all certified staff the $2,500 increase, along with step increases, as well as increasing the local supplement from 8% to 10%. And then all classified staff will receive a raise and any step increases that they're qualified to receive. And everyone must work 120 days in order to qualify to receive a step increase. And then also in FY 22, we started restructuring our classified salary schedules and implemented the first phase, putting all classified employees on a salary schedule and updating our starting salaries for different classes of employees, as well as making our step increases and percentages uniform so that most scales had a 2% increase between each step. And then in FY 24, we implemented our second phase of restructuring our classified scales. We updated our starting salaries so that $12.50 was the lowest starting hourly rate that we had for our classified employees. So that included the salary scales for paras, school nutrition workers, custodians, and receptionists. For example, in FY 24, the step 0 starting pay for a para with high school education and a custodian was $10.69. And so that changed to $12.50 for step 0, and there was a 2% increase in each step along those scales. So in FY 25, we propose to update our starting salaries so that $15 is the lowest starting hourly rate for classified employees, and continue the 2% step increase in each step of those scales. And then the remaining classified scales will receive a 4% increase in order to maintain competitive salaries for those positions. So to explain further, if you've got a step increase and you've got a 4% change in the scale, then the employee receives a 6% raise overall. And then in FY24, we also changed the rate calculation for extracurricular trips for our bus drivers to pay them as on a straight hourly rate of pay. Other than overnight trips, we have to deduct 8 hours for sleeping time. We also started paying bus drivers $30 for each double route that they had to run in FY24, and we'll continue to do that in FY25, as well as pay any driver that works over 40 hours a week, Monday through Sunday. They get time and a half for any hours over 40 hours. And then we will maintain the substitute bus driver pay at $15 an hour for 4 hours, and each department's substitute rates of pay is at $12.50 an hour. So that's for teachers, paraprofessionals, custodians, school nutritionists, and mechanics. So now let's talk a little bit about our state health benefit plan. There's been quite a few changes in that. The employer cost for all certified health care coverage changed effective January 1, 2023. It increased from $945 per member per month to $1,580 per member per month. And then effective July 1 of 24, it will increase to $1,760 per member per month, or $21,120 per year. And the state does fund costs for certified employees' health care coverage if they're in the general fund or Fund 100. And then also the increased cost of all classified health care coverage was to be phased in over a 3-year period. Beginning January the 1st of 2024, employer costs for all classified health care was to increase from $945 to $1,195 per member per month. And then at the end of the 3 years, the cost would have been $1,580 per month. But instead of it going to $1,445 in January 1 of 2025, the Assembly changed it to go ahead and increase to the $1,580 per member per month this year, instead of continuing to phase that in. So we also have our projected rates, since at this time we don't know what the bronze cost of single portion of health insurance is, because we have it built in the budget that the board will continue to fund a portion of each employee's single health care insurance coverage. And right now it's $77.69 per month, and single dental insurance coverage is $26.87 per month. So that's the benefit worth $1,254.72 per employee per year, and a benefit for working for the Fannin County School System. So here we have something different, which kind of goes through and gives us a good explanation of the cost of health insurance. So just to start with, the board has funded $72.45 per member per month from July, and I just went back for the years that I've got on the chart, July through November of 2021, and then it changed to $76.58 per member per month from December of 2021 through November of 2023, and then $77.69 from December 2023 to date. And you can also then look at your changes in certified and classified employer expense. It was $945 per member per month from July of 2021 through March of 2023. And then the certified went to $1,580 per member per month in April of 2023, and will increase to $1,760 in July 1 of 2024. The classified was $945 per member per month, and it changed to $1,195 per member per month January 2024, and will be $1,580 per member per month January 2025. So to explain the chart a little bit, if you look at the very first column gives you your fiscal year. The second column, the employer contribution, that is what the board has funded each year. That is the $77.69. So that is how much it costs, and the board has contributed to everybody that works here for that year for their insurance coverage on their behalf.
That's local tax funds?
Yes, sir. That's what you have contributed for the employees portion of healthcare coverage. That's how much that costs per year. And then the employer paid certified. You can see in 2021, we were paying $2.7 million, and our projected for 2025 is $5.5 million. And then the employer paid classified was $1.9 million in 2021 and $2.6 million in 2025. So you've got the total employer paid, and then you have the funding QBE sheet for health insurance. On our QBE sheet we get from the state, on the bottom of that sheet, it has how much is included in our funding, even though we still have less local fair share that they subtract. So you can compare how much has been funded and then how much the difference is in the following column, counting both certified and classified. So for 2025, it's 3.7 million less of what's funded that we're funding locally. And then our TRS employer rate will increase from 19.98% to 20.78%. And for 2025, that's just approximately $195,000 for that increase. Then to go ahead and look at our projected revenues. In 2024, Georgia State Department of Education, our QBE earnings sheet gave us $12,548,276 for 218.76 funded positions. For 2025, we have $12,868,625 for 220.89 funded positions, and that's a net increase of $320,349 for FY25. So if you go, this slide kind of gives you a little bit more of an explanation. If you review the QBE earnings for 24 and 2025, you'll notice that our FTE increased by 10 and our QBE earnings increased by $1,567,609. But our less local 5 meals also increased by $1,247,260, which is why we only have a net overall increase of $320,349. And that includes all the increases in health insurance and everything else. We still only net $320,000.
That figure is I forgot what it started.
The local 5 mil is the property tax, is what the DOE says we should contribute towards education. And it's based on property values.
Yes.
Okay, so to continue on, we have talking about property tax values, and we received in 2022 our sales tax ratio study August the 9th for 2023 from the Department of Audits. And our overall sales ratio was 36.54 in 2020, 30.35 in 21, and 39.70 in 2022. And we've not received our sales ratio study yet. It usually will come out around August, but the best is to be closest to 40 as possible for what the score is that we receive.
What I was trying to say was the QBE, that's the funding that we get per pupil.
Yes, sir. It's calculated based on FTE per pupil, and a lot of different things go into that from the state.
A lot of people, though, think that our SPLOST money, is it mixed in with this or can be utilized for these?
No, sir. Our SPLOST money can't be utilized for any salaries or anything with that, only capital projects. So as of right now, we've spoken with the tax assessor's office, and they're still working on reevaluations for 2024 notices. So it's just too early for us to get any kind of projections from them at this moment. So really, if we look at our local revenue, I only have it increasing $150,000, but I will get back with you as we get more information. So we will change those as updates come in.
So you just used the tax base that we had, our revenues from this year, just increased it by 150 because Dawn and them haven't finished assessing property values to correct.
Well, our interest increased by $300,000, and I decreased our intangible taxes by $150,000. So I haven't touched our property taxes, because I don't have any information from her. So hopefully we will have more information shortly that when we can get that from her. So I just left it like we're going to get the same thing we had last year.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So this is a snapshot of the general fund, estimated revenues of $40,645,144.80, and estimated expenditures of $47,257,991. Due to the decreases in our funding with CARES, 6 very needed positions have moved to the general fund from special revenues, along with 2 other certified positions in order to earn our SHBP funding. So the total salary and benefit cost for all 8 positions is $954,357.46, and with an 18.09% increase in SHBP not funded by the state, that's $4,722,800. So that really amounts to the majority of what those over expenditures come to. But the good news is we have a healthy fund balance, and we're debt free, and we are earning and not paying any interest. So now we can move on and talk with special revenues. There's not really been any changes since our first budget meeting with that. Our special revenues are specific revenue sources that are restricted or committed for certain expenditures by law. We can continue on. For our current, for FY25, we have our Title I, Title II, Title IV, 6B, school nutrition, pre-K, all of our CTE programs, the Perkins carryover, Perkins program improvement, Perkins Plus reserve, and our IDEA flow through, and our IDEA 3 through 5. The special revenues that we don't have in FY25 is our ESSER 2, ESSER 3, ARP, ESSER ARP, Homeless Children and Youth, Homeless Children and Youth 2, the L4GA Birth to 5, L4GA High School, L4GA Kindergarten to 5th grade, L4GA Middle School, and ESSERS 3, and the ARP LL Opportunity Grants. The ESSERS ARP funds have provided money for all of the schools to buy school supplies for all of our children for the 4th year in a row. So school supplies are still provided for our children for school year for 2024 and 2025. And then this is a snapshot of our special revenues budgets with estimated revenue of $4,856,391 and expenditures $5,258,545. The excess of revenues over expenditures is in the school nutrition fund for that. And then we can also note that our special revenues amended budget for FY24, our revenues was $8,040,522 and expenditures of $8.6 million. And in 2025, the reduction in special revenues is $3,184,131. And due to that, that's why we have positions that are moving to general fund. And then we have our capital projects, or SPLOST. And we are so very thankful for all of the Fannin County citizens and their support of the special purpose local option sales tax for our SPLOST. Because SPLOST has provided for system-wide remodeling, renovating, upgrading at all of our schools. It's provided a career technology, agricultural education, CTE, agriculture center, the new staff development center, new transportation facility, and land and acquisition for future projects. SPLOST has provided HVAC and buses and textbooks, telephone and communication systems, system technology, vehicles, safety and security equipment, upgrades to print and electronic media collections, and replacement for nutritional equipment. Here is just a list of things that is in our SPLOST budget. We have things for curriculum, for STEM, for school allocations, for media, technology, photocopiers, transportation, automotive, school nutrition, agriculture, Fannin County School System equipment, Fannin County School System construction SPLOST projects, health wellness CTA project, and athletic project. Our SPLOST revenues was $10,232,416 in FY23 and projected to be $10,475,560 in FY24. Using the last 35 months as a conservative average, projected SPLOST revenue for 25 would be $10,001,518. So we are effectively saving 3.64 mils at our current cost of 1 mil, which is currently worth $2,874,291 by receiving our SPLOST dollars funded by everyone visiting and making purchases in Fannin County. So here's a snapshot of the SPLOST, which I just rounded our SPLOST to the 10 million even instead of leaving the $1,000 on there. So we have our SPLOST revenues and then our SPLOST expenditures, and that's just projected for what they will come to be for FY 2025.
We can compliment our Chamber of Commerce for the brightness of that.
Very much so. And do we have any questions or comments or public comment?
On that, on those school supplies, I had quite a few parents question that, but those supplies are available, but they're available when you ask for them. They give them out, and so if you don't ask for them, you get what I'm saying? So there were people saying that it's not available, but they are available. When you run out, you have to say, I'm out, you know.
And Ms. Collis, if we can pull up the other. So this, and I'm not asking for approval of this in our call meeting, but this is just the summary of the budget put together, which I will go over again in our regular meeting. But we will continue to work and refine these numbers as everything changes, and we get more information. For example, we've already gotten more information on what our safety funding will be, and the Department of Education has added a new function of 2660. So our SRO officers will move from function 2100 down to the new function, and that'll be reflected in the budget when I present it for adoption. But then I would also do like I've done before and explain any differences.
Thank you, Ms. Wynn. And I'd like to go back, if it's okay, Mr. Chair, to your question. And I also request if any principal in the room, if I misspeak against what you're practicing, let me know. But for the classroom supplies, each principal is actually allocated a dollar amount for supplies. So it's up to the individual principal to order for their school what has been requested. So how they manage it in-house.
Is that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so just that on that. And then just back to you, Ms. Wynn, like the revenues that's on the proposed budget is tentative because we don't have those hard numbers yet from, not just from us, but from
the state.
Yes, and that our QBE, or what we get from the state of Georgia, has actually been decreased more than it was last year because of our local fair share, which is directly correlated to our property value. So that's kind of a catch-22. We're blessed to live in a place where we have high property values, but then again, we end up having to let go of some of that state funding because our tax base is so high to help offset some other counties where their property values are not as high.
Yes,
so that's
ma'am.
why we're losing some of that funding. And then another source of that is the exponential increase in the employer portion of insurance that's not it's not a state funded mandate, so it falls back on the local school system to make up that difference with local revenues.
It does.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one quick question for you. We spent a considerable amount of money recently on security upgrades. Will they let us apply this increased security funding to those expenditures we've already made?
No, sir. But the security numbers the security grant that we're having for FY25, they've already given us a list of everything that is applicable that you can use it for, and they will allow you to use it for SROs and other things where we haven't been able to do that before.
Right.
And we were just told that we will be allocated that amount of revenue in 12 monthly installments, so it won't come down in one lump sum grant.
And we don't have to do CONAPs for it, and we don't have to do completion reports for it.
Which is a good thing in Ms. Wynn's world.
That is. CONAPs are the director's area. The completions are mine, so.
How many SRO officers do we have at present?
We have 6 full-time SROs, and then we have room for a sub, and Mr. Danner is actually working to secure an additional sub, correct? That's okay. That's a sweet little ditty. I like it. It kind of adds some joy to the atmosphere. So, but yes, we have 6 full-time, and then so. Any more questions?
Is there any public comment?
So, all right.
I think it's a miracle that they can keep books with the school system. There's so many different programs, etc., and so many people involved, and you never get a question that I'm aware of, not in a long time anyway, or a demerit or whatever you call it.
The finance department has done a great job in the audits the past several years, and that is commendable, Mr. DeWeese. Yes. So, all right, Mr. Chair, we have 4 minutes before 5:30. Would you want to take a momentary recess and everybody be back to start at 5:30?
In their seats, 5:30.
In their seats, ready to talk.
4 minutes. 4 minutes.